6858 today. Spectrum Business, made to work.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Good morning, I'm Bree Driscoll, and here's your Spectrum News in 90. Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to outline her economic plan in the battleground state of North Carolina today. It's expected to focus on grocery prices and housing costs, with inflation a key issue for voters. Former President Donald Trump is talking about the economy as well, attacking Harris over inflation while defending his personal attacks of her. In a story you'll see first on Spectrum News, voters are weighing in on the race in a new Syracuse University Ipsos poll out this morning. They were asked about a variety of topics, including running mates, debates, and even the impact of Trump's assassination attempt. Hurricane Ernesto has strengthened into a Category 2 storm as it barrels towards Bermuda. Hurricane now packing maximum sustained winds of 100 miles per hour. Ernesto brought heavy rain and storm winds to the Caribbean, knocking out power to nearly 1 million customers in Puerto Rico. It's expected to hit Bermuda with 6 to 12 inches of rain. 2 people plead not guilty in connection with the death of actor Matthew Perry, and 3 others accept plea deals. The defendants include the actor's live-in assistant, 2 doctors, and a person dubbed the ketamine queen. Prosecutors accuse the doctors of giving Perry a large amount of ketamine, while his assistant gave him several doses the day he was found dead. Those are your headlines. Now here's a look at your weather on the ones.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm meteorologist Ramel Carpenter. Hope you all have been having a wonderful week. It's definitely been hot still across the south, and it's going to stay that way as we head into this weekend. Upper 90s to the triple digits across Texas, Oklahoma, and across the southwest as well. Up north into the Great Lakes region, we're going to be a little unsettled as we head into this weekend. An area of low pressure begins to work its way across that region. And we also have another threat for some strong to severe thunderstorms to develop across the Central Plains and the Great Lakes region. I'll time that out for you and talk about the potential impacts we could see coming up in 10 minutes.
Thanks so much for joining us here on Spectrum News. I'm Bree Driscoll. Today is Friday, August 16th. Our top story, we are now 3 days away from the Democratic National Convention, and there's a growing showdown on the campaign trail over the economy. Today, Vice President Kamala Harris is delivering an economic speech focused on helping Americans with housing and groceries. Food was front and center at former President Donald Trump's news conference on Thursday, where he doubled down on attacking his opponent. Spectrum's Angie Gonzalez has more from our nation's capital.
The vice president's speech in Raleigh is supposed to offer more specifics on how she plans to address issues like inflation, should she win in November. Among Harris's proposals is a federal price gouging ban on groceries.
It's about looking at the real villain here when it comes to high prices, and it's really corporations and corporate greeds and billionaires that are continuing to price gouge and price fix.
The same proposal is drawing criticism from her Republican challenger, former President Donald Trump, who, surrounded by grocery store items, said Harris's plan amounted to, quote, communist price controls.
So when I win, I will immediately bring prices down. Starting on day one, we will end Kamala's war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill.
Billed by Trump's campaign as a press conference at his New Jersey golf club, the former president started his event Thursday with a 45-minute speech where he did talk about inflation, but he continued to fixate on President Joe Biden leaving the race and attacking Harris on a personal level.
I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her.
Meantime, Harris praised Biden as the two appeared together for their first campaign event since his decision to step aside last month. Her supporters say she's looking to build upon what they've done the last 3.5 years.
Few leaders in our nation have done more on so many issues, including to expand access to affordable health care than Joe Biden.
And Bree Harris is also going to be talking about another economic issue at her event today, and that's housing. Back to you.
And Angie, you also have new reporting on what's being done to protect former President Trump after last month's assassination attempt.
Yeah, it's been about a month since then, and the Secret Service has now approved the use of bulletproof glass to protect Trump at outdoor events. You can see it from time to time when they are holding events, when presidents are. Here's Trump behind some bulletproof glass on January 6, 2021, and it's used for sitting presidents. You see it here at President Biden's inauguration. The issue was, though, that when it is used for a president, it can be transported by the Defense Department from place to place. But the Secret Service doesn't actually have those assets, so they're going to need to store them at places across the country now in anticipation of Trump's campaign stops. The Secret Service also planning on increasing the number of agents that it provides to protect candidates. Bree?
Angie, thank you. Now to the growing threat from Hurricane Ernesto, which has strengthened into a Category 2 storm as it barrels towards Bermuda. The hurricane now packing maximum sustained winds of 100 miles per hour. Ernesto brought heavy rain and storm winds to the Caribbean, knocking out power to nearly 1 million customers in Puerto Rico. It's now expected to hit Bermuda with 6 to 12 inches of rain. Let's get right to meteorologist Ramel Carpenter. Ramel, this hurricane could strengthen even more before making landfall.
Yeah, that's right, Bree. It's going to be up towards a high-end Category 2 hurricane, borderline Category 3, and this is going to be bringing some significant impacts to the island of Bermuda. Hurricane warnings are in place as those impacts are expected later tonight into early Saturday morning. The system itself is starting to look a bit better organized right around that center circulation, which is a sign that this is going to be picking up some strength. Could be getting up to around 110 miles per hour as far as the peak intensity goes. And as we get into Saturday, early Saturday morning, right around 3 o'clock, this is going to be right around the island of Bermuda, bringing a lot of rainfall, 6 to 12 inches, locally higher, storm surge, and again, strong winds as high as 120 miles per hour. The system itself will eventually carry over to the northeast, up towards eastern Canada, bringing some impacts over there. And here at home, we are expecting some rough surf and rip currents, so probably a good idea to stay out of the water unless you are a surfer.
Meteorologist Ramel Carpenter, thank you very much. 2 people pleading not guilty in connection with the death of actor Matthew Perry and 3 others accepting plea deals. Perry's personal assistant and 2 doctors are facing charges, along with a woman dubbed the Ketamine Queen. Spectrum News anchor Jenna Enoch has a closer look at the evidence prosecutors uncovered.
Sketches from a Los Angeles courtroom show 2 of 5 defendants charged in connection with Matthew Perry's death. One of them, the so-called Ketamine Queen, who investigators say had a hand in distributing fatal amounts of ketamine in the final weeks of his life.
It says to me that these defendants operated based on greed. They wanted to take advantage of another person's addiction.
The star of the popular sitcom Friends was found face down in his hot tub in October. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada talks about how one of the defendants was a licensed doctor.
He went the extra distance to actually inject Mr. Perry with ketamine. On one occasion, he saw Mr. Perry freeze up.
One of the other defendants, Jasveen Sangha, nicknamed the Ketamine Queen, allegedly sold ketamine and meth out of her North Hollywood stash house, often times to celebrities. The 3 other defendants accepted plea deals, including Perry's assistant, who admitted injecting the star with ketamine without medical training.
Every victim's life counts. If you are in the drug selling business and you're selling dangerous drugs, you are playing roulette with other people's lives, just like the 5 defendants here did to Mr. Perry.
When clinic doctors refused to increase his dosage, he turned to unscrupulous doctors who saw Perry as a way to make quick money.
When the news of Perry's death came out, prosecutors say the defendants deleted all text messages surrounding their exchanges with Perry and each other, including a text message that said, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay," end quote. After the announcement, Perry's family released a statement saying, quote, "We were and still are heartbroken by Matthew's death, but it helped to know law enforcement has taken his case very seriously. We look forward to justice taking its course," end quote. Jenna Enoch, Spectrum News.
We're also following arrests in the death of another actor in Hollywood. 4 people are facing charges in the shooting death of former General Hospital actor Johnny Wachter. 3 18-year-old men were booked on suspicion of murder, and a 22-year-old man was booked on suspicion of being an accessory to the crime. According to LAPD, Wachter was killed when he interrupted thieves trying to steal a catalytic converter from his car back in May. Wachter's mother said the arrests are a huge relief. Coming up on Spectrum News, voters respond from an assassination attempt to a Democratic shakeup. Break down the results of a new poll on the presidential race. And you'll see it first right here. Stay with us.
Here's the deal. In this election year, people need a place to explore national issues that have an impact on their community. To understand those issues better, we're bringing together our team of local political journalists from across the country to break down what's happening. So join us every week to catch the key stories making a big difference across the nation and in your local community.
Watch The Big Deal with Errol Lewis Friday nights at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Spectrum News Plus. Available on all of your favorite devices exclusively on Spectrum.
At Spectrum, we know that internet is a vital tool to help you fulfill your dreams.
My dream is to become a video game developer.
My dream is to get an online college degree.
That's why Spectrum has affordable solutions to keep you connected. At Spectrum, we are committed to delivering reliable, affordable internet and unlimited mobile to keep you connected to what matters most to you.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. One day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm meteorologist Ramel Carpenter, tracking some more severe weather across the Central Plains like we have been the past couple of days with this unsettled weather pattern sticking around. Through Kansas into portions of Oklahoma, we've got a level 2 slight risk for severe weather today. Damaging winds are going to be the main concern, but we could see some large hail developing with some of the strongest thunderstorms across the Central Plains. Up towards the Great Lakes region into portions of the Ohio Valley, we do have a level 1 marginal risk for severe weather. Not expecting widespread severe thunderstorms, but some of those could certainly pack a punch with some damaging wind gusts. Same threat starts to shift into the East Coast as we get into the day tomorrow and into our Sunday as well. Upper level low is going to continue to work its way off to the northeast, keeping that severe thunderstorm chance around for most of this weekend. In the meantime, though, we do have more flooding concerns across the Tennessee Valley with multiple rounds of heavy rainfall, which could lead to a quick 2 to 3 inches locally, and especially in those low-lying areas, poor drainage areas as well, could see some flooding out there. So make sure you're staying aware of that over the course of the weekend, especially through the Ohio Valley and down towards the Tennessee Valley. So this upper level low is going to continue to work its way up to the north and east. We're going to have scattered showers from Ohio into West Virginia, which could use the rainfall with their drought conditions across that part of the country. And then as we get into Friday evening, if you have Friday evening plans, especially through Tennessee, let's say northern Georgia and Alabama, make sure you tote an umbrella. Probably a good idea to do that, especially with some of those heavier downpours developing late tonight. Storm system works its way off to the east, and then more scattered showers from Michigan into Indiana, Columbus, seeing some scattered showers and thunderstorms over the course of this weekend. Not a great weekend necessarily across these areas where rain chances are going to be around. Pittsburgh Sunday into Monday going to be dealing with that. And Chicago all weekend long, not a washout, but we are going to be seeing our fair share of showers and thunderstorms. But despite the rain, at least we're not seeing hot temperatures like we are in some parts of the South this weekend. In Little Rock, going to be in the middle and upper 90s, but feeling more like the triple digits. I'll talk about some more toasty temperatures, plus a look at the tropics coming up in 10 minutes.
Well, if you're just joining us or heading out the door, here's a look at what you need to know. Hurricane Ernesto, now a Category 2 storm, as it towards Bermuda. The hurricane is expected to bring maximum sustained winds of 100 miles per hour. It's expected to hit Bermuda with 6 to 12 inches of rain. 2 people plead guilty in connection with the death of actor Matthew Perry, and 3 others accept plea deals. The defendants include the actor's live-in assistant, 2 doctors, and a person dubbed the ketamine queen. Investigators say his personal assistant gave him several doses of ketamine the day he was found dead in a hot tub. And today, Vice President Kamala Harris is outlining her economic plan in the battleground state of North Carolina. On Thursday, former President Donald Trump attacked the Biden-Harris administration for its handling of the economy and the border. And that's a look at what you need to know this morning. Well, there have been some unusual and unprecedented moments in the presidential race this summer, from an assassination attempt to a shakeup at the top of the Democratic ticket. So what do voters think about all of it? This morning, Spectrum News is getting a first look at a new poll. Here's Evan Kozlov.
Let's start with Vice President Kamala Harris becoming the Democrats' White House nominee after President Joe Biden bowed out. The poll found that by a very small margin, the change made voters more likely to go for Harris than former President Trump. But the difference was more pronounced among independents, says Margaret Olive, the director of the Syracuse University Institute for Democracy, Journalism, and Citizenship, which conducted the poll with Ipsos. She says that for every 2 independents that said this change made them more likely to vote for Trump, 3 said it made them turn to Harris.
It may mean that they find Vice President Harris likable. It also might just mean that they really didn't like President Biden as a candidate, and they're happier that they have her as a choice.
The poll also looked into how voters responded to the assassination attempt against Trump. About a quarter of those polled said it made them more likely to support Trump. 14% said it made them more likely to go for Harris.
And we saw here in these results that more than half of Republicans, only 5% of Democrats, are saying that the shooting would make them more likely to back former President Trump.
The polling also makes it clear that people want to see Harris and Trump debate. 78% said such a debate would be important. The poll also asked about their new running mates, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. 36% agreeing that the selection of Walz would boost Harris's odds of winning, compared to just 31% who disagreed. Respondents were less bullish on Trump naming Vance as his running mate, just 25% agreeing that it would help Trump's odds, while 41% disagreed.
They think that Tim Walz is a bigger boost for the Harris ticket than J.D. Vance is for Donald Trump's chances.
The poll also took a look at political messaging, asking if certain words were appropriate as political attacks.
She's a radical left person.
61% said the word radical was an appropriate way to describe a candidate.
These guys are creepy, and yes, just weird as hell.
While just 45% said weird was appropriate.
Word weird that Governor Walz has been using may actually turn off some crucial voters.
Now, the poll also asked about third-party candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Just 14% said they had considered voting for RFK in the last month. Reporting here in Washington, this is Evan Kozlov, Spectrum News.
Now to the crisis in the Middle East. Ceasefire negotiations resumed today between Israel and Hamas amid the rising threat of a wider war. Hamas is not physically a part of the negotiations and has representatives from Qatar and Egypt giving the terrorist group updates on the talks. The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says more than 40,000 Palestinians have been killed since the war started in October. Also this morning, the war between Ukraine and Russia reaches a turning point. Russia is moving several thousand soldiers from Ukraine to counter the Kursk offensive made by the Ukrainian army. Ukrainian officials said they control nearly 400 square miles of enemy territory, including at least 74 settlements and hundreds of Russian prisoners of war. New this morning, an escaped murderer is back in custody in North Carolina. Ramon Alston was arrested during a hotel raid overnight. He's being taken to a high-security prison to continue serving a life sentence for shooting a girl to death on Christmas Day in 2015. On Tuesday, he fled in handcuffs and leg restraints as he was taken to a doctor's appointment. Just ahead on Spectrum News, the story of a young blind man chasing his dreams in the swimming pool. Now he's headed to the 2024 Paralympic Games.
Spectrum News Plus. News from a new perspective. Dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the nation. With balanced reporting, providing real context and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day.
Here's a look at your forecast across the country.
Local stories, connecting communities. We are Spectrum News Plus. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't switch to Spectrum Enterprise.
Well, you said our services meet some of your technology needs.
But not all.
Well, maybe you have too many.
Demand better. And when they call you unreasonable, call us.
Look, I'm switching to Spectrum Enterprise because they'll be a true partner. And I can't run this network without one.
I think you can.
Our clients do it all the time.
Demand better. And when they call you unreasonable, call us.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm meteorologist Ramel Carpenter. We made it to the end of the week, and we're still talking about Hurricane Ernesto, which is getting ready to bring some significant impacts to the island of Bermuda. Now at Category 2 status, you can see that well-defined eye as it continues to progress to the north-northeast. And that upper level trough is going to help steer the system to the northeast. So it is not going to be bringing direct impacts to the United States, but it is going to bring rough surf up and down the East Coast and dangerous rip currents. So if you're heading out to the beaches this weekend and any of those areas, definitely pay very close attention to the flags. Probably a good idea to stay out of the water unless you are a surfer. As for Ernesto, it's going to continue to work its way up to the northeast. Sustained winds around 100 miles per hour, gradually strengthening to a high-end Category 2 with maximum sustained winds around 110 miles per hour, where we're likely going to see this making landfall just around the island of Bermuda. As it makes its way north of Bermuda, it is going to continue to weaken as it enters the northern Atlantic, and it could be bringing some more impacts to the far eastern half of Canada as we get into Monday, early next week. Eventually becoming a post-tropical cyclone by Tuesday, and again, rough surf and rip currents are going to be the main concern for us here in the United States. Those hurricane warnings are still in place for the island of Bermuda, where we're going to see some significant rainfall and some storm surge across the island. Rainfall totals will range anywhere between 6 to 12 inches, and parts of the island locally could see a little over a foot of rain as Ernesto works its way across the island later tonight into early Saturday morning. Back here at home, though, we're dealing with more heat and humidity once again. Excessive warnings from Oklahoma, portions of northeastern Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas getting in on the action as well. Elsewhere, we're under heat advisories in those areas in orange, and I wouldn't be surprised if these stuck around for this upcoming weekend, because that weekend forecast is looking pretty toasty across the south. High temperatures 92 degrees Kansas City, 94 up in Denver, and we're at 109 in Vegas and Phoenix later today, 102 Dallas later this afternoon. But of course, when you factor in the dew points in the upper 60s, low 70s, we're going to have heat index values as high as 110 degrees as we reach the peak heating each afternoon. The heat sticks around across the south over the course of Saturday, and a little cooler though across the northeast thanks to unsettled weather pattern taking shape. Few showers, clouds are going to be around, helping temperatures stay a few degrees below the average. But on top of the cooler temperatures up north, we're dealing with wildfire smoke approaching from Canada. This is going to continue to bring poor air quality alerts across portions of Vermont and Massachusetts today and perhaps into Saturday, but I do think the air quality will continue to improve as we head into the rest of the weekend.
The 2024 Paris Olympics captivated audiences around the globe. Now the city is preparing for the Paralympic Games, and we are being introduced to some of the athletes set to represent Team USA. Spectrum's Jenna Ray Gardner introduces us to a swimmer who's making a splash in the pool.
Every stroke.
It's kind of just like another day in the office.
Every kick.
Lift up and over like a windmill.
Every tap.
When you swim all the time, it kind of becomes like your job.
Gets Evan Wilkerson one lap closer to his dream.
When I heard them call my name, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually made it. And then I was like, okay, what do I do now that I've made this, you know? Because that was my goal for 8 years, was hearing my name get called to go to Paris.
At the end of the month, he'll dive into the competition at the Paralympic Games in Paris. Although it's exciting, Evan says it's also a little intimidating.
It's a bigger stage, but the pool is still 50 meters long. It's still full of chlorinated water. Crowd might be a little bit bigger, but you're still going to have the cheering, still going to have the same equipment, it's the same cap, the same goggles.
1940, finish.
I just got to get out there and let the training take over and hope for the best.
Evan was born with Leber congenital amaurosis, a rare genetic condition that left him almost completely blind.
I visualize a lot, and so since I can't see the venue or anything, I try to visualize everything, every sound that's going on around me.
That means he uses a tapper to let him know when he's nearing the edge of the pool. It's a role filled by his mom, Tracy, during almost every practice.
I know his stroke and what it looks like.
But she'll be taking a back seat at the Olympics.
So I love being his tapper and spending time with him. And so to be an observer at the games will be like this nice moment where I just get to watch and see everything finally.
Tracy says the whole family will be joining Evan in Paris to cheer him on during his races.
So exciting, but I don't even know if I processed it yet. It's just so much. And like, I just had faith in him that he would do it. So it's almost like it's not a surprise, but it is.
Last one, send it.
But just because he made it to the Paralympics doesn't mean he can rest now.
I'm trying to focus on my tempo. I'm trying to count that out. I'm trying to count my strokes. Trying to keep my kick engaged, keep it fast enough, keep my hips stable or engaged. It's a lot to think about.
Evan says he's most excited to meet all the other Paralympic athletes and hear their stories.
I'm just really excited to be able to get out there and go swim and just see what happens.
That was our Jenna Ray Gardner reporting. Good luck to Evan and all of Team USA. And remember, you can always stay connected with us here at Spectrum News by getting your national and local headlines on the go. Just download the free Spectrum News app. It's available in the App Store and on Google Play. I'm Bree Driscoll. Thanks so much for watching. Your Spectrum News in 90 is coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
The 2024 election will decide who leads our nation and the balance of power in Congress, impacting all of us. From Capitol Hill to the Oval Office, let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth coverage with our dedicated experts in local politics. Strengthening democracy by informing your community. That's our mission. Available on all of your favorite devices, exclusively on Spectrum.
At Spectrum, our workforce of over 100,000 employees are all located right here in the U.S. You can find them in our stores, in the field, and in our call centers with 100% U.S.-based customer service. Our team works hard to provide the towns, cities, and neighborhoods they live in with the reliable services that everyone counts on, making us one of America's most trusted companies. We're Spectrum, creating jobs and opportunities across the country. I'm proud to be 100% U.S.-based.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."